Hi guys, Bill again. Well, tonight I'm going to have a look at some extremists right on the edges, the fringes of polite society, the men's rights movement. You've maybe heard of them. Now I'm going to give you a trigger warning because I'm going to be talking about white male privilege, I'm going to be talking about sexism and misogyny. Well, indirectly anyway. And just how it affects entitled Western women. The first guys that I want to talk about are the pickup artists. They're not a movement. They don't really give a fuck about other men's rights. And I reckon the only reason they get lumped in with the MRM is because they're such blatant sexists. It's handy tarring us all with the same brush. Their main aim in life is just to get laid as often as they can with the best looking women that they can talk into their beds. Feminists hate them. And I can't really get myself as a big fan either, but I've got different reasons for doing that. It's not that these guys aren't playing by the rules. They're playing precisely by the rules that our modern Western society lives by. They emulate the models and the celebrities in the glossy magazines. They've got better clothes than most gay men. Don't mind what the rest of us schmucks are wearing. They work out, they use beauty products, and they always tell a woman exactly what it is she wants to hear. You know, they could have stepped right off the pages of Mills and Boon's romance. And they're about as real. But they're exactly what women seem to want. Which is a shame, because they view women the same way that society, and some feminists, view men. Just a resource, something that you use, you manipulate, and ultimately you discard. Their numbers are growing. The only limit on them is the suitability of would-be pickup artists. You know, Casanova's good. Casanunda, maybe not so good. As long as our society is penalising men for displaying loyalty, conscience and a work ethic, these guys are going to rise in numbers. It's bad news, ladies. They don't want kids. They don't want to share their wealth. But there's worse than that. Men going their own way. They're men's reaction to the unreasonable, the undeserved persecution of a society that thinks of us as the last real peasants. Now these guys are a movement. They care a great deal about the rights of their fellow men, and their numbers are growing with every red pill that gets shoved down their hairy necks. See, at least the PUAs are seeking some kind of female interaction. Men going their own way could care less. They don't feel any obligation to conform to society's norms, particularly chivalry. They're not dressed to impress. They don't open doors, they don't change tyres, and if you want to talk to one of them, you best show some respect if you want some back. You can call them Zetas, Shoshokodanshi, herbivore men, MGTOW, the label doesn't matter. They don't care about fancy jobs, they don't do romance, they're not consumers. These guys are destroying the future Japanese economy, and they absolutely terrify the Japanese government. But Japan hasn't got the huge welfare bill that we've got. The Japanese are going to struggle with these guys, but it could destroy us if it catches on here. You take away the strong backs that are paying for our massive extended government, the huge welfare state that we've got, and you're very quickly going to end up with a system that just can't support itself. And the relentless, unthinking attack on Zeta males comes from every part of our media, but it's hardly worth the effort. They don't care what women think, much less the media and the state. Now, bizarrely, the organisations that are hurt most by the phenomenon, big government and mainstream feminism, seem completely unable to perceive the simple cause and effect of their relentless attacks on masculinity, leading inevitably to males choosing to just walk away from the abuse in ever-increasing numbers. Is there a third way? Well, there might be. See, men's rights advocates like myself and men's rights activists are taking up causes that are actually in the state and in feminists' best interests. It's absolutely no use granting women 90% plus of every custody battle and the lion's share of every divorce settlement. If men choose not to have kids and to avoid marriage, 100% of nothing is still nothing. It's self-defeating to bar further education opportunities to the males if the graduates that you know are going to work the longest and the hardest and pay the greatest tax return on your educational investment are males with a family to support. And at the other end of the social scale, it makes absolutely no sense imprisoning huge numbers of males for extended periods if their brothers aren't paying the taxes anymore needed to keep them incarcerated. You need their boots on the ground. You need them earning those tax dollars. I guess in short, what I'm saying is, you punish conventional masculinity. It's self-defeating. You give a man a choice between being taken for a mug and completely screwed over by the system, or becoming a player, or becoming a Zeta male, walking away from it all. It's difficult to find much to recommend the first one. Now, men's rights are human rights, but they serve a greater purpose, and it's in all our interests to pursue those rights. You know what I mean, peeps?